This is my workshop for making a coffee table with a Scrabble board burned into it. I start with a soft composite board 2 by 4 feet and about 1/2 inch in thickness. To begin, I use a ruler, a pencil, and a protractor. The protractor would be used a lot less, but I don't have a straight edge longer than 12 inches. After making a horizontal line of unspecific length, I use the protractor to identify a right angle and then use the ruler to draw a perpendicular line. Repeating the process and connecting the last 2 points, I am left with a square. Its exact dimensions at this point are unimportant. A Scrabble board is made of 225 squares arranged in 15 rows and 15 columns. To find the length of the individual squares, I measure the width of the board and divide it by 15. For me, this length turns out to be about 1 inch. I make 14 marks about 1 inch apart on both opposing sides of the board to mark the lines that will separate the squares. Without a long enough straight edge, I have to mark 90-degree angles for each of the lines in order to make sure they are straight all the way across. Lining up the ruler with the mark I just made and the mark on the border, I draw 2 lines to create a single line that will later help form a column. This step would be made much easier with a longer straight edge. Repeating the process, I am left with 15 evenly spaced columns. Making the same 1 inch apart marks as before, I make more right angles for creating straight lines, this time horizontally. After finishing the same process as before, I am left with a grid of 225 squares. After marking the middle space, I drew DL, TL, DW, and TW in their places on the board as the Scrabble rules dictate. These abbreviations stand for double letter, double word, and triple word, respectively. Now, it's time to burn the whole thing into the table. I am using a cheapo wood burner I got at Walmart for about 15 bucks. It plugs in, has a simple on switch, and comes with a stand and several different tips that can be screwed into the burner. The tips are cool but are made of soft metals that will break with a lot of pressure. I actually had one break while I was making this board, and half of the tip is now stuck in the burner, but the edge of the burner itself works fine, if not better. Anyway, I traced everything I had marked in pencil with the burner, lines as well as letters. After the board is essentially finished, I decided to spell out Scrabble on the right side of the board for aesthetics. I measured a space for 8 squares with small even spaces in between. Eyeballing the angles, I drew the squares and then traced them with the burner. After the board is finished, it's just a matter of getting some letters and finding someone bored enough to play with you.